those impromptu IG lives that I have no idea what I'm talking about. But at this point, I don't really care anymore. I don't really care if I don't have a plan at times. I don't really care if I have a topic. I'm just going to open up this channel and let you guys in on what's going on in my reality, and maybe I can connect some dots for what's going on in your reality. How is everybody? I'm going to wave. I like waving. I like recognizing you guys. Everybody on here, shout out to you. Shout out to you. And the last two videos I've made, I kind of go all over the place. If you guys haven't noticed, my Instagram lives are, like I said, they end up being one little small thing, and then they fractal out into who knows what. Much love from Brooklyn. I love it. I have a lot of friends out there in New York. I see you. Hello, hello, hello. Everybody's jumping on. I was just saying I have no idea what's about to come out, but I feel very called, and I asked God and I asked my angels and my guides to come in and give me that inner wisdom and to remind me of my ability and my voice and my channel that I'm still learning who talks half the time when I speak. But at the end of the day, I think all of us are activating that within ourselves. And I think all of us are in it within ourselves. Whether you've done the inner work before, whether you've gone through things in your life in the past, whether you've done shadow work, past life regression, inner child healing, if that's new to you, it's all good. You don't have to learn it overnight. Just know that some of the things that might be coming up in your reality have been stored inside of you for a very, very long time. Feelings of sadness, maybe feelings of anxiety, feelings of loss or confusion, feelings of, maybe despair or lack, feelings of uncertainty or comparison. And you might be wondering, how do you know? Like, I feel like you're reading my mind maybe, right? Well, it's because I've felt through all those in the last few years. Growing up, I suppressed a lot of emotions, being an athlete and being a very masculine energy of overly ego and overly competitive. And at the time, it was what suited my life and my reality. But I brought that now to 31 years old and 31 years of age. And that's kind of the first thing, I guess, that wants to come out is time. And that time is a linear number justification to give our power away to something that we might not even know we're doing. Look how much of our life is run by time. Your alarm clock, getting to work on time, your schoolwork, when things are due, how long you've been together with somebody, your timeline, your birthdays. Why is it a birthday? Celebrating another year of time you've been here. We celebrate some of the greatest things, but all of them have to do with time. But I want to ask you something. Where did time come from? Maybe you never asked yourself that because it's something so simple. Who decided how many months are in our calendar year? Are you sure it's 12? Or did you believe the game of telephone when it got hijacked and told the wrong message and we received the wrong message? You see, I think what we're experiencing right now with time and everything else is a game of telephone. That's what wants to come in. I knew it. Telephone. That's it. And I'm on a phone talking to you guys right now. Yes, it's a concept that is man-made indeed. And before I talk about the game of telephone, if you guys don't know, our calendar, the 12-month calendar, was actually hijacked and was created to the Gregorian calendar. The Gregorian calendar is actually 12 months long, and the Vatican itself and the Catholic religion, I apologize if that triggers you, but they took on this Gregorian calendar because they wanted to throw off the time of the planet in regards to astrology, sky astrology, planets, retrogrades. So they wanted us a little bit out of whack. So how do you get people out of whack? Well, throw their time out of whack. What happens when you miss a meeting by 5 minutes? Your day's ruined, huh? You're out of whack. What happens if you sleep through your alarm? You're out of whack. Well, what happens when our whole life is run off a calendar that's out of whack? No wonder we feel out of whack. You see how it's all connected? It's pretty powerful when you keep connecting these dots. And that's another thing, guys. If you're on this and you're listening to certain things and you're going, wait a minute, this is triggering me, this is confusing, this is interesting, that's your first start of awareness. That's those first steps of awakening to your divine essence in all of us. And to understand that our calendars and our timelines have been, in a way, hijacked. We've been unconsciously giving our power away to those things outside of us, such as time, right? I'm getting older. I'm not young like I used to. Well, when you become aware of the time constraints and the time constructs, you basically said, I'm giving my power away to something outside of me, therefore I'm a victim of my life. And that alone is triggering. But guess what? Once you become triggered, it can cause a transformation. You pull the trigger on something, it can springboard something or it can slingshot them back. But everything's got balance. So our calendars have been hijacked. Our time has been distorted. We've given power to a 12-hour day instead of a different type of hour system. We've given power to 12-month calendar rather than a 13-month calendar. And these small little things can have a complete flip on our reality. So we just don't feel right. We just don't feel right. But that allows us to become aware. Now, I mentioned the game Telephone. I'm sure a lot of you know what that game is. That game of telephone is when a message begins at the top or somewhere, right? That message starts somewhere, whether I tell you a message here and you go tell somebody, and then that person tells somebody, and then that person tells somebody, and then that person tells somebody. Next thing you know, 1,000 people later, that 1,000 person heard my story and then told me what they heard about me, and it's a complete lie. It's a complete lie. It's a complete confusion and misconstruct. Literally to a point where that message I started received after 1,000 people, and it can be the complete opposite of what I truly intended. And that is life in a nutshell. Why? Where does it start? The joint powers that be. Them. They. Evil that was hijacked, and they started playing a game of telephone. You need this for this. You can't have that without this. In order to do that, you must do this. This is how it is. These are your doctors. These are your teachers. These are your coaches. This is the dietary system. This is your religion. This is your banking system. This is how this works. This is how money works. This is how transportation works. And what happens is we become groomed to it in the first 7 years of our life. Why? Because everything that our parents were told from the game of telephone, guess who's going to tell their game of telephone? Who's next? You. If you're on here, you're supposed to receive this message because you might have been receiving a message from a game of telephone that was hijacked. Your parents had no idea. They're just passing it off to you. They're passing the baton to you. And you're going, oh, this is the way life is. You have to go to school. You have to get a job. You have to get a degree. You have to have money to survive. You have to get married. You have to have friends. You have to like sports. You have to survive. You have to pay taxes. You have to travel. You have to have passports. You have to do this. You have to speak English. Telephone. But when do we ever question that message? When do we question that message? When do we stop and go, wait a minute, why do I have to do that? The moment you ask someone that, you're going to see their true colors. Because one, they're going to either tell you the truth and say they don't know, or two, they're going to make up something to cover the lie that they unconsciously told. When you live your life, you're able to look through the lies. Because the word believe, if you break down the word believe, B-E, you be the lie you become. You believe. You get away from living. You be the lie that you've been told. I believe that. I believe that's how it is. That's how it's always been. And the word believe, when you truly break it down, you are being the lie that you are told. We are switching from an age of believing, which is Pisces, into the age of Aquarius, which is knowing. It's like, wait a minute, I know that's not the answer. Wait a minute, I know that's not the answer. I'm not going to believe that fully. I know my truth. And that's when you tap back into your divine inner source of wisdom that's been hijacked. Because where do we think truth is? In a magazine? On the Oprah show? On our radio networks? On our news channels? On our movies? Our celebrities? Our idols? Our mom and dad? we've been believing what they've told us instead of, wait a minute, I already know that's not true. But when you question the authority of something, and when you go outside of the lines, you're kind of like, who's that person? They're a little weird. And that's okay to be weird. Because weird means you're wired. You're wired to a divine connection. That's why the weird and wired are such divine words connected to each other. When you start connecting the dots, you start creating wires. You start creating a web. Why do they call it WWW, the World Wide Web, the spider web? You can get lost in the web, you can get caught in the web, or you can make a masterpiece out of it. Why do they call it the internet? Well, it's an internal network deep below you can ever see. The internet is a manifestation of your quantum mechanics in your body. Do you ever think about that? The reason I'm talking to you is a direct manifestation of me talking to you in my dreams, but you're seeing me here in reality. And when we go to bed, we die, and we wake up, we live. So we don't age. You see? We don't age. The moment we say we're 10 years old, we gave our power to time. But every day I wake up like I'm brand new. What can I learn today? I'm day one, not one day. And when you shift these lenses and you shift these perspectives in your life, you take your power back and you start seeing through the veil. You start seeing for what truly is. You start seeing all of it. But when you start seeing it all, it's hard to share it because not everyone sees it. I can ask 7 billion people in the world, I love this analogy, I use it all the time, who is Chris? And they'll tell me all a different answer. What happens is, I give my power to that and I lose myself. And I don't know who Chris is. I know he went to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. I know he owns a business. I know he played basketball his whole life, but is that Chris, or is that a story people have put on me? That I eventually just said, okay, I guess this is who I am. Are you living a story, or are you writing your story? Are you living someone else's story, or are you writing yours? Are you in your parents' kingdom, or your partner's kingdom, or are you creating your own kingdom? This is the kingdom of heaven, heaven on earth. Now this might trigger some, but for me, I truly believe heaven is here. Heaven is a place on earth. It's a dimension you can vibrate at. The same bliss, joy, ecstasy that we think we can only get in drugs and alcohol and stimulants is in fact already mechanically, chemically, and energetically inside of you. And that game of telephone, in fact, distorts that inner knowing. It distorts it. And it tells us that heaven is somewhere else. But in reality, it's in a state of being. That's why we're called human beings. Why human? H-U, hue, that is light. We are light beings. What happens when people die? What do they think people see? The light. The light is calling me. The light is shining. I'm going closer to the light, closer to God. Well, remember, you are light beings. So you're just getting closer to your true self. Do you see? And as you get closer to your true self, you start finding yourself. And you realize that all the things that were holding you back and holding you down and keeping you held back were in fact nothing more than limiting beliefs or stories from other people you took on. They're not yours. I want you to ask yourself this: are the things I'm feeling actually mine, or are they someone else's? Because right now we're tossing and turning and we're taking and pushing and throwing each other's power like it's literally air. But are you going to be the one to say, hold on, no, that's not mine, that's not mine. Okay, that is mine. I'm aware that it is mine. And once you become aware of these things, you begin to take your power back. And that's what, again, that game of telephone does not want you to do. Because someone whispered in someone's ear, and that continued and continued for thousands of years. Thousands of years, the game of telephone has been passed down. And now here we are in 2020, which is a timeline for biblical prophecy, if you guys do not know, whether it's the return of a new king of England or the world. And again, don't get caught up in the term king. Understand that it's a resurrection within all of us for us to remember who we truly are. Whether it's a banking financial system being reset because the old paradigm is done, there's no back to normal. as much as we could say it and try to hold on to it. When we say back to normal, what's the first word we say? Back. The only thing that's back is the memory we have in our mind. And that's stored in our subconscious mind, which keeps us from embracing the future because the future is uncertainty. And the fear of unknown outpowers the state of presence. The fear of discomfort, the fear of uncertainty, fear and unknown distorts the power of presence. That's why the present moment is the greatest gift possible. Maybe you've been on here for about 20 minutes with me and you haven't thought about anything else. We're in the present moment together. You see how your mind stays clear? When the mind stays clear, your energy can go into your right hemisphere. We have a left and right hemisphere, but sometimes we fear that side of life. The word magic is so powerful, and it keeps us trapped. But guess what? In that right hemisphere, do you know how much space there is? There's no broken frequency. There's no mind in the right hemisphere. Do you see? And I'm not saying, do you see? I'm saying, do you see? Because once you close your eyes, you can see everything. But what happens is we tend to see only the things we don't want to see because of the game of telephone. And in the right brain hemisphere, in meditation, when you're still, in grounding, when you're hydrated, when you're connecting to nature, when you're breathing, when you're present, when you're grateful, high vibrational feelings, feeling good, that spiritual woo-woo, that hippie stuff. Is it hippie stuff? Is it spiritual woo-woo? Or was that a message you received from a game of telephone, from your friend or your parents, or someone on TV? Take your power back. Trust yourself. Trust yourself. Trust yourself. Trust yourself. Remember what you can possibly do. And in that right hemisphere, all that space, that is where literally everything is birthed. That is infinite space. The left brain, I'm all left brain. That's the analytical and the thinking aspect of your brain. Because the brain is the most powerful thing on the planet. It's the most evolved, expanded, conscious, living thing, organism, entity, whatever you want to call it. Structure, vehicle to hold your soul in your cerebellum, your cerebral cortex, your neocortex back here. This is the seat of the soul. You're in the cockpit. You're in the seat of your soul, and here are your lenses. Right? This is your movie projector. You're playing a movie. You just got to ask, what movie are you playing? Or are you just watching a movie and you forgot you're the director? And maybe you're just the critics. Are you a critic of a movie, or are you a director of your movie? Are you writing your chapters, or are you reading someone else's book? You're like, why can't I get anywhere in life? Why can't I break through? Why am I stuck? Because your projector's getting glitched. It's getting jammed because it's going, hey, this isn't your movie, but you're going to keep playing it, and it's going to crank, and it's going to be aggressive, and it's going to be uncomfortable. And that's another word, is surrender. And I grew up a Christian, you know. Now I don't associate necessarily myself with any religion because I feel like I'm all things. But surrender, we tend to surrender on things outside of us. Well, what about surrendering to ourselves and realizing that our whole life could be a game of telephone and distorted from connecting with God, right? God here. All things. Energy, love, space, water, fire, earth, humans, animals, plants. I'll keep going on and on and on. That's God. It's here. Because your heart is the strongest electromagnetic thing on the planet as well. Actually, way stronger than your brain. Because in the time you watched this, like I said, your heart's beat how many times? Can you count? No. So there's a divine guidance within you when you sleep, when you eat, when you talk, when you connect, when you work, when you build. Are you thinking about your heart beating? They say people can die of a broken heart. It's very true. You guys ever wondered why a heart looks the way it does? When you put two hearts together, go look it up. Put two hearts together, they form what you guys do when you hit that heart button. That's why a regular human heart looks kind of half, right? Because it's half. But as we come together with each other, not outside of us, but inside of us, we connect. the masculine and the feminine energy. And that's the birth of Christ consciousness. That's where we're headed. Because when you balance these energies within you, you start realizing you create time. You create your reality. You create your scenarios and your relationships. You're not relying on a game of telephone. Because the very things in this world for the thousands and hundreds of years have been designed to take that consciousness away from us. And it's happened in many civilizations. Many civilizations. And here we are, 2020 vision, getting ready for a great awakening that is happening right now. But when you wake up, sometimes you got to go through rough parts of your dream. You wake up every single day. What do you wake up from? Your dream world. Well, your dream world is now coming into your reality. And you're seeing it manifest fast. But what's happening, you're trying to figure out how, instead of understanding, accepting, and letting it be. Because when you let it be, you start believing, not being the lie you were told. And as we experience this great awakening, it's going to be rough. It'll be uncomfortable. There's going to be turmoil and conflict. And it's happening now. It's happening now. Did you guys know June 1st was in fact the first day of 2020? A few days right after everything happened with the George Floyd issue. That was January 1st. June 1st. Look it up. This weekend, 4th of July, I'm not here to predict anything. I don't necessarily want you guys to say that what I say happens, because it doesn't always. Does it sometimes? Absolutely. It's mind-blowing. It's fun when you play the game of life. But in these next weeks or so, I'm giving you just a heads up, not a warning, because when you hear the word warning, you get a little scared. I don't want to instill fear. That's what mainstream media does. That's why you turn off your TV. I'm bringing awareness. That's all I want to do. I'm just throwing some breadcrumbs out there. I'm leading you to the water, but you got to drink it. You know me, I got my water. I was led to the water by someone I love dearly, but I had to choose to drink it. And so in these next coming months, moving our way into September, October, and November, and December, this year, 2020, will go down in the real history books. However, I think it'll be a different name, not his story, because it's not his or hers. It's just is story, not his story, is story. It is the story, the greatest story ever told. Not his story. It is the greatest story ever told. His was hijacked in the game of telephone to make us overly masculine and overly dominant in our ego-centered mind of competition and scarcity, war, poverty, hunger, famine, disgust, racial divide, lack, shame, fear, guilt, you name it. That was his story. Not anymore. Why? Because I'm giving you the pen to write your own story. It is, I am the greatest story ever told. And the Christ returning, it's not his, it's within you. You're returning back to origin. You're returning back to yourself. You're returning back to God, where heaven on earth is here now, all around you. If you really pay attention, it's all around you. When you see those numbers, 1111, 222, all those, divine reminders. Divine reminders that you're exactly where you need to be. You're like, Chris, I'm in it. This is, I feel like hell on earth. You said it. You're creating it. But that's okay, because everything has a polarity. You can transmute it and you can flip it when you become aware of it and you put your attention and conscious thought to it. And that's the power I want to give you. I don't want you to necessarily think I'm a guru or something. I'm not at all. I'm far from that. I never want to be. Please do not tell me that. I never want you to do something because Chris said or come out better said. Please do not. I'm past all of that, because I see myself enough where Affirmations are amazing, but I just want to give you your power back. I just want to remind you how powerful you are. I want to remind you that everything you're going through will pass. The more you fight it, the more hard it's going to get. What you resist persists. But when you accept, surrender, embrace, forgive, let go, shed a tear, hydrate, connect your dots, take back your power, know that God is right here. Christ, Jesus Christ, is within you. You have all you need. Everything outside of you is just going to reflect back what is in your reality. You could look at the ocean as, I'm terrified to go in because I don't know how to swim. I could look at it as, wow, that's a lot of life. That is amazing. Who's right? Who's wrong? Nobody. It's just the lens you see. It's the perspective that you have. And you're remembering this. And if you're getting the goosebumps or the chills, or your heart's racing a little bit, or maybe your stomach's stomach's turning, it's because your body's trying to go, yes, 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 yes. Body talks to you all day. But what do we think? Oh, I'm sick. I'm not feeling good. I'm nauseous. I got anxiety. I have problems. But what if I were to tell you those were signs from your higher self, from God, telling you that you're exactly where you need to be, and to feel through it, and to welcome it? That's as far as I'll go, because I want to give you that power. And so it is. Stay hydrated. Drink more water than ever. I don't care what you drink, Kangen water, whatever water you want. Do whatever you want. I'm giving you your power. Great. Drink more water. More water. Get around nature. Make sure you take your time to disconnect from mainstream media if you still watch it. Remind yourself that you are loved. Drink more water. That keeps coming in. Breathe. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Breathe right now. Take a deep breath through your breathe, breathe, breathe. When we forget to breathe, the energy gets stuck. Stretch your hands. Stretch your hands. Okay? Your hands. These are portals. This is where information comes. Typing, texting, tweeting, stories. What are we doing? Look what we're doing with our hands all day. Look at your hands right now. How do they feel? Are you even aware they're there? Stretch them out. Bend them. Open them. Tap them. Bring it back to you. We take power from here to here to here and to here, and we get tight. Open up. Same thing with your chest. Open up your heart. If you got a tight chest, oh gosh. Okay. Last thing. I think this is the last thing that wants to come out. Notice what our phones and what business, what technology, what 9-to-5s, what cubicles and working have done to our chemistry. Closes our heart, closes our portals, puts tension on our neck with our head going forward, and we become stuck. Open it up. Open it up. I've been stretching more. I've been exercising, yes, but stretching more, opening more, moving more. Sun gaze. Connect with the sun. The sun is not here to harm you. It's the Son of God. S-U-N. Careful of words. Sun gaze. Get out in the sun. Absorb the sun. Welcome the sun. Thank the sun. And Sunday is a powerful day to do that. And this Sunday is a day after 4th of July, and we're going to see some fireworks. I don't know how or what. It's going to be something in the next few weeks. I don't know how. Reset. Shock. Reset shock. Shock leading into a reset. I don't know. So keep doing those things. Share your light. Speak your truth. Take care of yourself. You are safe. And we're exactly where we need to be. It's the greatest time to be alive. And I couldn't tell you that a few years ago because I had no idea. No idea. This is the greatest time to be alive. And you signed up for it. You said, all right, let's do it. Showtime. I'm with you. I ain't going anywhere. My partner Jilly's not going anywhere. We're just getting started. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to planet Earth. When I say birthday, I'm talking about be Earth. Be the Earth. And you'll know that'll be the day when you become one with Earth. Because everything on this planet is within you. The ocean is in your veins. The trees are in your lungs. The solar system is in your tummy, the solar plexus. Trust your gut, trust the universe, trust the solar system. Happy birthday. But remember, everything outside of you on this earth is within you. The bacteria, the fungus, it's all within you. The germs, it's in you. The plants, chlorophyll, it's in you. Animals, life, that's in you. The same life force in animals runs through you. The wind you see and you feel, you create it. The fire within you, that's when your blood boils. That's when you get very passionate. That's when you're fired up, you're lit up. That fire. But sometimes we lose control. What happened this past year? Fires all over the world. Could they have been controlled fires? Maybe. Could they have been manifested? Maybe. I can't tell you that. You know the answer. And you're smiling right now because you're like, oh my gosh, I knew it. That oh my gosh, I knew it is you reading your DNA. You're reading what already is. You're reading what already is done. And now it's being expressed in your voice, in your actions, in your thoughts, in the people that are coming into your life. And you're like, wait a minute. I just saw you in my dream and now you're real. Wait a minute, I just thought about you, now you just texted me. Wait a minute, how did you know I was just thinking about you? I had 6 people today ask me how I'm doing. I was thinking about you. I had an interesting day. A lot came up. Old past stuff, because we're in that retrograde right now. And retrograde means going backwards. That's as much as I know. I'm not going to go in depth. That's not my place. But we went backwards in time. And when I say time, I'm saying reading our DNA, not the numbers on a clock. But at one point, we were children, and we had these wounds that are now coming up. Tantrums, frustration, fighting. Why'd you do this? It's your fault. It's what we did as a kid. But now it's manifesting again because we are healing our DNA, and our DNA is evolving. It's expanding. It's transforming, and it's fractaling out, and it's creating more DNA strands. And we have more DNA. That's the film. You guys know when you watch a movie, the film projector, that film that plays, that's your DNA. When you read your DNA, you then project out what it is you're reading. So again, if your DNA is damaged, if you have inner child wounds, if you have heart walls and traumas, that video, that movie, that script, that's being cut. And now the movie you're watching, ooh, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. But guess what? Stick around for the credits. Stick around for the post-credits and give yourself credit for being here. You guys are amazing. Channel closed. I have no idea who was talking. I do know. I don't know. It is what it is. But I'm just reading some of these comments. Thank you guys so much. Your energy is felt. Again, I had no idea what was going to come out. It started with one thing and led to the next. I couldn't even tell you what I just talked about, but it was meant to be heard and was meant to be shared. And if you took something away, thank you. If you didn't, thank you. If you got triggered, thank you. If you got empowered, thank you. If you felt better, thank you. If you felt worse, thank you. Welcome everything with gratitude. It's the greatest attitude you can have, and that's going to help you transmute more than you can ever imagine. Thank you guys, and I will see you next time. Much love.